Also guys, welcome back to our current video. Make sure to subscribe and yeah, let's get into the video. So guys, this one's about everyone hates this Roblox game. Let's see what Chills will say. 3, 2, 1, let's begin.
Roblox games of all time. Stay tuned to see if you hate these games as well. And this first starts with a Dusty Trip. And I know what you're thinking. This is one of the most loved games on Roblox right now. However, it's not the official one. As we can see here, the game is called a Dusty Trip. Same name and everything. And it has almost 9 million visits. As we can see, the like to dislike ratio is pretty bad. Especially for a game that has almost 10 million visits. And for wondering why the like to dislike ratio is so bad is because the entire game is clickbait and everything about it is fake. The description isn't even a lie because it says a Dusty Trip team game, which isn't true. Right when you join, it's literally like a Doomspire Brick Battle clone, and the game has nothing to do with Dusty Trip at all. It's literally entirely clickbait. They advertise the game as a Dusty Trip, they make a description telling you it's a Dusty Trip themed game, but then right when you join, it's all fake. And surprisingly, it actually worked, because the game got 9 million visits. You know, people actually played this game, and then probably realized that, you know, it was all fake, so they disliked it and left. And also the game seems to be a cash grab with like the shop and everything, and every time we die, keep asking you to favorite. So overall, an annoying game and a complete lie, which is why it ended up being a very hated game. And speaking of which, our next game is Vampire Escape Lobby, a game that has 36 million visits, but as you can see by like dislike ratio, it's pretty bad. 470 likes to 3,000 dislikes, a pretty bad like to dislike ratio, and it's a very hated game on Roblox. And this one's kind of confusing, because I actually played through the game and stuff like that, and it was actually pretty fun. It was actually a very well-made hobby. It had like a proper theme, the whole two-player aspect was very good, and playing through it, I'm really confused why this game ended up being really hated. It was maybe stolen, but I looked up and tried finding a similar game, and I couldn't find anything. So maybe people don't have friends to play a two-player hobby, maybe people didn't realize it was a two-player hobby. I don't really understand why this game got hate, to be honest. Usually hobbies on Roblox are disliked though, just because they end up being hard. This one wasn't even that hard. In general, kind of confusing case, but it ends up being a very hated game on Roblox. And speaking of hobbies that are hated, next we have kind of a similar situation with Escape the Castle Fortress hobby. Once again, an absolutely massive Roblox game. 770 million visits, however, they have almost a 50-50 like to dislike ratio, and just barely enough likes to take over dislikes, but as you can see, a still very hated Roblox game. And once again, kind of confusing. I played through the game and it's a very, very well-made Roblox hobby. However, with that being said, the game does have some annoying aspects, like there's some annoying pop-ups here and there every time you die, and also the game is kind of glitchy. Like some of the deaths just don't kill you properly, so maybe that's why people didn't like it. But in general, with that being said, from playing it, this game seems to be hated just because it's hard. The hobby's meant to be kind of hard and challenging, and it seems like some people found it too hard and left, which is pretty interesting. Although these most hated Roblox games you would think are just badly and poorly made games, but a lot of the times they actually end up being really well-made games that people just found so annoying that they disliked. It's pretty interesting. When I was looking for games for this video, I was expecting a lot of just poorly made clickbait games like the first one, but although the games are actually really good, but people just didn't give it a right chance, and it ends up being really hated in the community. Which, speaking of which, our next game is I Want to Test the Game Beta. And this game's been blowing up over the past year or so, and it's been going viral, especially on YouTube. And once again, it's a hobby game, but the entire point of this game is to troll you. Firstly, when you join in, it asks you to pick a difficulty, and right when you picked easy, which I did, it rickrolls you, say,
oh, okay, an ad.
difficulty. And then once you finally get into the game, it just gets even more annoying. Firstly, the entire thing is a trick. It seems like an obvious obby, but right when you try doing the obvious thing, you die. And I struggled with this, I can't even lie. I kept dying over and over again, and eventually I realized what to do. But that's the thing with this obby. Once you finally figure out what to do, that's still not it. Because right after figuring out what to do, they throw more obstacles at you, which is making the game even more annoying. Constantly over and over again, this game just trolls you, makes the game super hard, and in general, that's probably why it ends up being so hated. Because it just got so annoying for a lot of people,
I played
and probably too hard for a lot of people
that
they quit the game and left a dislike, which is why it's such a bad like dislike ratio. A very popular game though, 70 million visits, but due to it being that rage-inducing, a lot of people hated the game. But to be fair, that's exactly what they're trying to achieve, so I don't think they mind being that hated. And speaking of being hated, our next game is Color Run, a very hated Roblox game. This game is 170 million visits, but a very bad like dislike ratio. And a lot of people hate this Roblox game. And once again, it's kind of interesting. I joined the game and it wasn't even that bad. It wasn't like a unique concept, but the game itself wasn't the worst thing in the world, you know, compared to some other stuff that we've seen. But the more you look around, the more you realize why this game kind of sucks. First of all, the game just gives off cash grab vibes. It definitely was just like a big cash grab. And also with that being said, when you walk around the map, there's a bunch of items that I'm pretty sure most of them are scams, because they show you like Valkyries and stuff like that, and then give you a pop-up to buy it. But right when you buy it, obviously you're not going to get a Valk. So I feel like a lot of people also got scammed by this game. And in general, this concept's definitely been like stolen and been done about a bunch of times, so a lot of people probably hate this game. And if you go in the group, that's literally what people are saying. There's a bunch of comments of people just saying your game sucks and stuff like that. So in general, A lot of people end up hating this game, I guess, for it being a cash grab and also it just being kind of boring. It wasn't the worst game in the world, I can't even lie, but with everything being said, I can definitely see why people hate this game. Speaking of which, our next game is Impossible Ladder Climb Lobby. A Roblox game that has almost 100 million visits, but as we can see, 25,000 likes to 41,000 dislikes. It's majority hated by the community, and I feel like this was kind of obvious. As you can tell by the thumbnail right away, it's actually stolen from Sketch, a popular YouTuber, but then also with that being said, the entire game feels stolen. I think the game itself, or gameplay, is, they did make it, but is entirely ripped off from Steep Steps, a game that, kind of popularized this. I don't know if Steep Steps were the first people to do this whole ladder thing, but they definitely made it popular. And they stole their entire, game, how it worked, and also the whole style of the game as well. So that's probably one of the big reasons it's hated, just because they stole Steep Steps and made it worse, The game mechanics aren't even that good. And the shift log didn't work, making the whole game super annoying to play. And they also have a bunch of cash grab elements to the game, so not only did they steal Steep Steps, but they stole Steep Steps, stole the whole concept, stole the whole style, made the game worse, and added cash grab elements, which is why I ended up being really hated in the community. And speaking of being really hated in the community, next we have some Roblox events actually, and this is pretty interesting. The first Roblox event / Roblox collab we have is NFL Tycoon, an official Roblox collab with the NFL. And as you can see, this game is very hated in the community. And the game is closed, so I can't play it, so I'm playing a different NFL Tycoon in the background. But if you're wondering why this game's so hated, basically, the game just felt super rushed, and it didn't really work properly. On launch, the game was super poorly made. It was super glitchy, super buggy, and it was just overall a very rushed thing. You couldn't really play it, and it wasn't even fun, because once you got past one step, the next step would be super glitchy and super bugged, It was a very poorly made hobby. And it seems like they rushed to put this game out, because I guess NFL wanted it out quickly or something. And also, that being said, it was just kind of boring. And in general, a lot of people feel like they wasted an official NFL collab to make a poorly made Tycoon, It was very weird, and it ends up being a very hated Roblox collab. It's probably not the most hated, because our next one is probably one of the worst Roblox events we've ever seen, and one of the most disliked Roblox games and hated Roblox games being Philips Norclo Shavetopia. This Roblox game got a million visits, but one of the worst like to dislike ratios, and the reason for that is because this entire Roblox collab and Roblox event is based off a shaver. The most random and stupidest Roblox collab of all time. There was literally no need for this, and this is an official Roblox collab. They made an entire game and an entire collab around the shaver out of all things, which is the stupidest and the dumbest idea I've ever seen, and ends up being one of the worst and most hated Roblox events, for obvious reasons. The game itself wasn't even that good. It was super boring. The whole shaver, you ride around the shaver mechanics didn't even work that well. It was overall just the weirdest and stupidest Roblox collab we've seen in a while, which is why I got a bunch of dislikes, just because it was so weird and so random, and also pretty poorly made. And with that being said, for some reason they made a part 2 of this, which was a Razor Racer. I don't know why they saw number 1 do that bad, and they're like, you know what, we need to make number 2, because that didn't work at all. As we can see here, another million visits, but a horrible like-dislike ratio. And in general, this ends up being one of the most hated Roblox events and collabs of all time, just because of how weird it was and also how bad the event was. In general, it's pretty obvious why this game is hated in the community, and why this event and collab is hated in the community. And speaking of super weird collabs, next we have Fruit Loops World. Yes, the Fruit Loops cereal collabed and made a Roblox obby for some reason. And I think the main reason I hate it is because right when you join and you're not in America, they give you a pop-up saying you can't play this game. But since you already played it, you're allowed to leave a like or dislike. So a lot of people probably got to this step, saw it wasn't available in the region, disliked it and left. That's what happened to me. This game is only available in America for some reason, so majority of people playing Roblox didn't even play the obby. Already off the bat, a pretty dumb thing. I don't know why they made it US only. And then beyond that, watching the videos on the event, and it didn't even look that bad. It actually looked like a pretty decent obby. But I think for just how weird the collab was, in combination with the fact that most people couldn't even play it, that's why I got a lot of dislikes. It ends up being a very hated Roblox event and Roblox game. And with that being said, we have our last most hated game, being My Hero Academia Battlegrounds. This is an official anime collab for the anime My Hero Academia, and they made their own Roblox game in combination with GameFam. And you're probably confused. If an official anime joins Roblox, why did it end up being so hated? Well, here's the thing. A lot of unofficial anime games are actually based off My Hero Academia. So right when the official My Hero Academia joined Roblox, they realized this, and they actually started striking down and taking down these games. And some of these were literally some of the biggest games on the platform. As we can see here, RC tweeted out at the time saying, GameFam has actually DNS'd 2 major anime games on Roblox, Anime Adventures and Anime Fighting Simulator X. Each of these games contain some content from My Hero Academia, which GameFam has secured a partnership with Crunchyroll to produce their own anime game. And yeah, it's really shut down some of the most popular anime games on Roblox. Like, Anime Adventures has like 1.9 billion visits, the other game has like 70 million visits, and I think another one has like 1 billion visits. With this game coming to Roblox, they just shut down like 3 billion visits worth of Roblox games. And that's why it ends up being so hated, because they took down so much popular games. And not just that, they also made it paid, because it's in beta right now, which are already pretty lame. and then on top of everything, the game sucks. Like, a lot of people are playing it, and it doesn't even compare to some of the fan games. So they came onto the platform, and they made a horrible game compared to the fan games, and they took down the fan games. It was overall a horrible collab, and it ended up doing so much damage to the platform, why it ends up being one of the most hated Roblox games. And in general, with that being said, those are some of the most hated Roblox games. And keep in mind, I was basing this off some of the worst like-to-dislike ratios for popular games. And these are some of the worst like-to-dislike ratios for popular games of all time. There obviously are a lot of Roblox games out there like Pet Simulator X and, Meep Cities, stuff like that have horrible reputations that are hated in the community. But if you look at like-to-dislike ratios, it's actually not that bad. So today I want to cover Roblox games that have, horrible like-to-dislike ratios and are super hated across the, the entire community. Not just games that are, kind of loved, but then also kind of hated, you know what I mean? In general, a lot of Roblox games are hated for a bunch of reasons. For some games, it's just a cash grab and, a lie. For some games, the audience is being too hard. And it's pretty interesting to see why these games are super hated. And if you enjoyed, check this video to find out Roblox games that show you Robux, or check this video to find out Roblox games that no one is playing. And I'll see you in the next one.
Anyway guys, that's all for the video. If you want to see more regain content and more Roblox news, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, see you next episode, buddy. And goodbye. Toodaloo. Bye bye.